Grant Cardone says cash is trash, cash flow is king. I mostly agree. I think cash is nice. I like to spend cash, but monthly income, monthly recurring revenue, that's my thing. Not lump sum payments, not big deals, not big scores. I love creating monthly recurring revenue. I love creating business systems that or optimizing current business systems to make more monthly recurring revenue. I hate starting the month at zero. I hate solely relying on hunting. I love to have that, what I call farming income. And I love creating systems that do that because I'm a long term strategic system thinker, not a short term project based thinker looking for a big score. If this resonates with you, then you're going to love this video. You're also going to love this video if you're a miserable, unhappy, perfectionist entrepreneur and you are struggling to enjoy your life despite the fact that you've built a successful business. Like a lot of guys that I worked with, like a lot of entrepreneurs in general, are very hard on themselves, set very high standards for themselves, and have very high net worth targets where they link their identity to that particular net worth target on a tight timeline that puts a lot of pressure on themselves and ends up in the guy doing a lot of work that he hates, having clients that he hates, hiring people that he hates to do work that he hates to get to an arbitrary chest pumping revenue target or employee target or net worth target or all the above, because he is playing a game that originally sounded fun but has not been fun for a long time. And monthly income is the key to that next level of enjoyment, or getting back to the level of enjoyment. And if you give me a few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly how that works. Okay, so first it starts with recognizing that monthly income is the metric to measure. And by income, I mean after-tax income. Pre-tax income was never yours to begin with. It belongs to the government. And again, as I said, I would choose monthly income over lump sum payment because I measure my expenses monthly. And that's the key to all this. It's about setting lifestyle targets for income instead of arbitrary net worth identity targets. Remembering that business and money in of itself is a tool for happiness. Some guys don't like the word happiness, so I will just say positive experience. Everything is a tool to create more positive experience than negative. You can use the word happiness, you can use the word bliss, you can use the word state. At the end of the day, you want that all to be positive. I'll give you an example. Knife through your leg. Pretty much everyone can agree that's going to make you unhappy, unblissful, in a bad state, or just overall negative, having the experience of a knife through your leg versus the experience of feeling good in your body, feeling financially secure, having women or a woman in your life that you love, being in good shape, etc., etc. More of that, less of the other thing. That's what everything's for. That is what money exists for, much more so than saying the identity game of money exists so that I can stack 10 mil and be the guy that has 10 mil and measure my status in that regard. That is a way to be unhappy. That is a very good way to be unhappy. And that is what a lot of entrepreneurs get trapped in. They get trapped in the revenue targets. They get trapped in the amount of people working for me targets, and they get trapped in the net worth targets. Okay, and I'm not saying that to hate on anybody who's done very well in those things. It's terrific. Any success in business is hard, and anybody who's got huge wins, more credit to them, respect to them, hat tip to them. And if they've got all those things and they're happy, then even extra credit to them. I think that's fantastic. But it's often not the case. Okay, so monthly is the way to measure. Lifestyle targets is the key to making your money and your business work for you and make you happy. And instead of monthly expenses, I prefer for you to think of expenses as spending targets, as money only exists to be spent. Let me say that again. Money only exists to be spent. It's its sole purpose. Okay, so get rid of the word saving. It's not even accurate because you don't save money. You invest in USD, you invest in Euro, you invest in Thai baht. It's not like it's sitting in a bank account and it's somehow safe. No, it's it's sitting in a bank account in an investment in US dollars or euro or whatever it is. So it's always being invested. You cannot not invest money. You can invest it badly in poor financial investments or poor lifestyle events, investments like $1,000 bottle of vodka at a club that you're just going to piss out the next day. Terrible lifestyle investment, but you're always investing it. Okay, so you can't get away from that if you really look at this thing. You're not saving money. You're investing it in the local currency or the USD or foreign currencies, or that plus bonds, stocks, crypto, gold, whatever it is. That's not saving money. It's an investment, and that investment is an investment in financial security. Okay, it's an investment in peace of mind. That's really all my net worth is to me. It's sitting there trying to keep. I'm happy if I keep pace with inflation, and maybe just a touch above. I measure it in US dollars. That's my measuring stick. And I measure it in inflation adjusted 2020 USD. You can see more about that in my course once it comes out. I've got a lot of game on how to actually properly measure your net worth, because most guys are trying to measure their net worth in a measuring stick that's constantly inflating or deflating. So it's important to tie it to a specific year, but I digress. That's a separate point. So savings not accurate, and my net worth exists for me as basically I want to be able to keep that number, to increase that number, to keep pace with inflation. But ultimately, it really only exists as runway in case there's an interruption of income. Because I'm very, very big on not spending more than I made that month. And that served me very well over a long period of time. And it's quite easy because I'm not about to buy property. I'm not interested in buying a Lambo. If I'm going to buy something, it's going to be a motorbike, which I can buy from what I made that month, plus still meet all my expenses and not go into the negative. And I just don't have an interest in a lot of those things. And, I have one suitcase full of clothes. And even if I was to buy a property, I would assume that the property held that value. So that wouldn't even be considered a loss, for example. That could still be considered just a reallocation of income. Although the Lambo is a better example, or any car is a better example, because it's losing 40% of its value just going off the lot, whereas the house is not. So for my point, the car is a better example than a property. But the broader point that I'm trying to make is to really get you to think about like your net worth in an ideal situation when you've really solidified your money machine, your business, your source of income, really just should be overkill. Okay. And it really should just exist as like your net worth is just an investment in your future financial security, your peace of mind. We want you to die with all that on you, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to die with a bunch of unfinished projects and a bunch of money on you that you didn't spend. That was overkill. That's what I'm saying when I'm saying your net worth ideally is just future financial security. It's there, but its purpose is peace of mind. Its purpose is peace of mind, but ideally we don't spend it. We don't spend it. We don't have to use it to cover a loss from that month because there was an interruption in your income, because the money machine we created for you is really solid. All right. So it's not saving. It's an investment in peace of mind or your future financial security. But, and this is a big but, and I like big buts, and I cannot lie. I actually even wrote that into the notes here, as you can see, because I'm doing a screen share video because they didn't want to have to print all this stuff up and try and maintain eye contact with you guys and read it off of this. And I'm going to be doing more of these screen share videos in the future, if you don't mind, and if I don't get a bunch of bad comments. But even if I do, I'm still going to be doing them because I want to be able to read all this stuff off and give you kind of concrete information when I need to. Okay, so it's a big but. Your entire net worth is only relevant if there's an interruption in your income. Now, there's a few caveats to this, which I'll get to the end of the video, but ultimately that's the truth. So let me explain that to you. So let's say you've got 500K, 100K, a mil in net worth, all right, that you've accumulated, and you've built a hedge between cash and, other investments that ideally keeps up with inflation. Let's say you're measuring it in US dollars and you've hedged across cash or stocks or bonds or crypto, or whatever you want, and you keep up with inflation. Okay. So that 500K that you have, 10 years from now might be worth 800K, but it's effectively, you've maintained that $500,000 in value. Okay. That's only relevant for the, if you're going to be on the system that I'm on, if there's an interruption in your monthly income. Okay. Because otherwise, you had your monthly income, all your needs were met, you made more each month than you spent, and for the next decade, you didn't have to touch that 500K at all. And if anything, you were adding to that each month with $4,000 or whatever the number may be that you were pulling out of, that came in from the business, and that you were putting into this hedge of assets to buy you more financial security, to buy you more peace of mind, with the idea that ultimately you never want to have to use this to cover an income gap, but going from 500 to 600 to 800 to a mil, the more of that net worth you have, the more peace of mind, the more financial security you have. It's basically like the insurance angle. When guys are selling insurance, the angle to sell is, yeah, hopefully you never have to use this, but if you do, it's there. And so it's selling peace of mind. And that's how you should look at net worth, in my opinion. It's insurance against a interruption in your income flow. COVID would be a great example. A lot of guys went under during COVID because they didn't have a solidified money machine that could survive and thrive in those economic conditions, and they didn't have the runway, the net worth to be there in those cases of interrupted income. Okay, so I'm not ever going to tell you don't build net worth. I'm not ever going to tell you that having that net worth is not important. I'm not ever going to tell you don't add to your net worth each month at least a portion of your income, and that it's not important to have that. It's a fantastic thing to have, both practically as well as psychologically, as insurance, as peace of mind. But what I am saying is, ideally, when you have the right money machine or money machines, you don't have to use it. Just like insurance, you don't have to use it at all. And even if things like COVID came up, I've been blessed with my clients. A lot of them have been doing better after COVID, because a lot of my guys have online businesses, and my guys with offline businesses have been blessed. So it's not even the economic conditions that you have to worry about. It's only if those economic conditions cause an interruption in your monthly income from your money machine or money machines, with those being your businesses. And this is why I push the business investment so hard, because it's so fucking consistent. Like, you can measure it to a T. I can know, predict from month to month or year to year what my income would be, so accurately and so realistically. And that money machine is so valuable in comparison to other investments of my time or other investments of my cash. And it provides for me in ways that nothing else in my life does. Okay. So to reiterate, that 500K, 100K, or mil that you save only matters if there's a problem with your monthly income. Okay. Now, sure, you can buy a house or some toys occasionally. But as I said, that those toys should only come out of monthly spend. I don't like the idea of guy buying a supercar unless it's, he made $100,000 that month, or whatever it is, $300,000 that month, and he's able to buy the supercar without going negative for that month, because the supercar is going to lose value off the lot. Whereas the house is just a reallocation. The house is different. The house, if you have 500K and you drop 400K on a house, I think that's a bit much. You're going to be cash poor or asset poor, whatever you want to call it, and kind of locked in there. If you have to sell it quickly, but ultimately it's still, your net worth is still worth 500K. Whereas, if it's 400K in a supercar, that car probably just lost 100K in value.